Hello, my name is 7 and welcome back to Victor at Sea Pacific. Last time, Jason Atoll is under attack. There's a weird fight between aircraft and Catalinas going on near Midway. It's something I didn't really expect to see with, three cruisers now since we did nuke one of them into non-existence. Let's prep another strike. With these two squadrons of Dauntless dive bombers, so they'll go out, and well, they should hopefully go out. We'll just check to see if they're going out. There's some Sunderlands, probably from the British campaign. They're doing something. I assume they're gonna head for target. Hopefully. Yeah, these guys are returning from target. So these guys should be going to target. Yeah. With this group probably still taking off. Yep, this group is all good. So back to the bridge. So hopefully we'll be able to nuke some more of those cruisers as the task force actually closes on the force. So that the cruisers in the force can probably do some good. And then maybe the destroyers, although they're a little bit weaker. Task Force 8 is still closing on Makan, because we're probably going to do a strike there. A couple British spotters around. And then I'll probably base Task Force 8 out of New Caledonia. And have them operate in New Guinea for the first little bit, and then possibly push through the Dutch East Indies, just to prevent New Caledonia and Port Moresby and all that from being easily captured. Although I don't think Guadalcanal or Tungul is captured at all, because they're neutral, not captured. Yes, I think they are, because there's two light cruisers going down that way. 5 torpedo boats. I don't have the war bonds to be able to do that, because, you know, I spent a lot of them building some ships, and actually that's a good point. 5 days for the Gridley and 3 days for the Clemson. And was it San Diego? Yes, 10 days for both of the Atlantas to be done. So, still have this single lone light cruiser that's going to move this way. There's a spotter. I don't know. Oh, from Atu over here. I think I'm going to take Task Force 1 once they're done and been repaired fully. Task Force 6 is a light cruiser and a carrier. Oh yeah, it's the Sagatorio and the Corland. And then of course in Pearl we still have Task Force 1, who's near Pearl. Officially get them to resupply and repair and all that. So hopefully they'll be able to repair. Once they're fully repaired, I'll probably actually merge them with 6 and send them north, and then have them go this way, take over here, and then probably push down here, coming from the north. That's actually not, I don't think, a bad plan. Although we're probably going to lose Jason Atoll. It was 4 submersibles. And the Jason Atoll is an island. sitting at the surface and fight with the gun batteries on the atoll itself, which is 10 6-inch guns. And then also small AA emplacements, which also may turn their guns on the submarines, so I don't think we have to worry too much about Jason Atoll from the submersibles. So I think we can speed up time. Yep, they did some damage and they're coming back. That group is, I believe, damaged slightly. I think that's what that red bar means. I don't think these Devastators have the... Devastators definitely don't have the range to reach that. So Midway's just got those. Yeah, those guys are fine. Keep sending these guys out. Send up Baker Squadron again. Yeah, that one squadron is damaged slightly. But we're gonna have to leave that alone. Wake Island spotter all the way out here. So Task Force 12 has probably been seen by them. By Wake, so gonna have to raid. Probably gonna have to resupply at Midway, probably to replenish the carrier's strike aircraft now that we've lost some of the dive bombers, because torpedo bombers, surprisingly enough, are not all that good against land. It's surprising, I know. Torpedoes tend to just kind of shatter on land due to the way they drop. Task Force 6 has nothing. 12 is under attack. They're moving. 2 is this one. Oh yeah, that's the Colorado. That's what's going to become just the kind of defense force for Midway. As soon as it actually, gets here. Yeah, because it's got a long way to go. And I don't think the Colorado's still a slow battleship. It's not one of the newer, fast battleships. And plus, if we lose the Colorado, actually, I think the Colorado is one of the most powerful battleships we have, but we can't actually replace it if we lose it. Just yet. Yeah, 2 16-inch guns. B-turret, same in the back, and then some secondaries. Range 10 miles, that's 9 miles. Interesting that they're both the same caliber in gun size, but one of them has like 1 more nautical mile of range for some reason. Actually, what's the range? Nope, we're still out of range for dive bombers. So we're going to get closer and then we'll probably drop on Makan. Might also send some Grumman fighters just to cover the dive bombers, because they might have fighters, because pretty sure these have airfields. Last in position of 2 light cruisers. They're going to take this port. Five motor launches. A lot of these ports are really lightly defended. They're returning. They're heading out. And those guys are still going there. Alright, nothing to do but speed up time. Alright, so another strike completed against these light cruisers. And they appear like they're going to change course and head for us, basically. Alright then. 8 is still out of Dauntless range, but the Wildcat range is lower than Dauntless range. There's also more Wildcats in a squadron, so we'll probably wait until we're actually within Wildcat range before we actually launch a strike. Just because I don't want to send them up undefended against fighter aircraft. By themselves, the Dauntlesses, because although you can technically dogfight the Dauntless, you do have to dump your payload, which doesn't end too well when you're trying to, well, deliver a strike. 2 is still coming. And that light cruiser is still coming towards Atu. Although he shouldn't, I don't think he'll win against the gun batteries at Atu. Continue, is that a fuel? Yep, went and captured Tuluvu. Just as I thought they would. And they're gonna probably go after the Solomons. Actually, yeah, that needs to be upgraded before you can have a port there. Let's Alpha Strike with all your squadrons. And hopefully knock out that last cruiser. Actually, you've taken little losses with your dive bomber squadrons. I may just send you to hit Wick and then send you, because I figured you would have taken more losses during these strikes. But you haven't, so it's not actually that bad of a situation. I was thinking it was worse than it was. And 2 is still making its little slow way towards Midway. Alright, yep. There we go. Out of fuel, and we've knocked out that last fleet without suffering any losses. Alright, so 2. Move there. He's still got plenty of fuel. I might as well tell them to resupply. Hopefully they'll get some supplies, but they're really just motor launches. Not too much they can actually do. Nope. The Enterprise is still out of range. Not too surprising. Shipyard. Oh, the Clemson's been done. Can make an Omaha. Or Pensacola. Can't make anything else. Because all of them are locked and also too expensive. Oh, you actually can't build battleships here. Makes, sense. So 13 is the task force it goes into. So we've got the Delagan is our first destroyer. They're gonna hit a 2 soon. 12 is now hitting the Wake, and 8 is almost within range of Macon. Probably have to bomb Macon, then maybe even hit Tarwa, and maybe even Tuvu, and possibly even capture Tuvu on the way down to New Caledonia. Which is getting some supplies. Actually, I'll send it to a high supply state. Just because I'm going to base 8 here. So, and it's a relatively large task group. It's got a destroyer leader and then 4 destroyers. I had a cruise. Is it just a cruiser? Yeah, 1 cruiser and then 2 heavy cruisers and then a cruiser. Along with the Enterprise itself, so that makes sense. You're building the Atlantas. Mare Island, are you building anything? You're building a Liberty ship. Oil tanker. Don't have enough for our Yorktown class. A tug. A single 3-inch gun. Lumbering. We'll actually invest and get 2 more Liberty ships queued up at Mare Island. Just so that we have plenty, because some of them are going to be sunk, especially on this route. Because you have to go through the Gilbert Islands in order to get there. So we're bound to lose some of them. Although if we take the Interest Islands, along with maybe Tarawa and Makan, that opens up a nice supply route to New Caledonia. Well, that is fairly close to the Marshall Islands. Chuck Lagoon. It's a major port. Alright, well, speed up again. A Tulu. Alright, view on map. There we go, Task Force 13 has been created. Head to Jason Atoll. You will defend Jason Atoll. And then I'll probably create just couple more small minor task forces like this, just to defend, you know, Makan, Tarawa, and Tuvalu, stuff like that. Oh, convoy easy. Managed to make it to Pneumonia. Don't have the warp bonds anywhere near close to upgrade this to a major port. Once again, only thing to do, speed up time. Alright. A 2 defense force engage the enemy near a 2. Let's see how this is going. He's on the other side of the island, especially from all the cannons and all that, so... Line formation. Let's see, what little Mike Fubar? Yeah, you're gonna be Fubar soon, buddy. Relay Champ, Earthquake Magoon. Fleet alerts. Port's low on fuel. Ready to move. Ready to... Yep. So, Able Squadron. Attack. I wonder how many of you are going to be able to get your torpedoes away. Answer is probably very few. Are you smart enough to not run aground? It appears you are. That is a good thing, not running aground. The Kuma appears to be heading straight for the island. No, it managed to avoid. And she also opened fire on something. What is she engaging? I think she's trying to engage the fortifications and facilities here. And she's come to a stop. Yeah, she's trying to engage over the island. You do realize there's an island in the way there, guys, right? You can see that, right? Oh well. Around the corner then, torpedo boats, and show them what's for shooting up our island. The one guns may have temporarily began shooting at us. Oh, yep, the forward gun is shooting at us now. So, charge, guys. Little Mike is bugging out slightly. He's just so happy in order to be on the attack that he doesn't know what to do. There he goes, he's fixed himself now. At least it's only one gun shooting, so don't have to worry too much. Yep, they're making their attacks, or at least one of them made their attack. Guys, attack. Come at it again. Alright, he's launched his torpedoes, which missed. Those ones aren't. Those are gonna hit nicely, although they are early torpedoes. I was halfway expecting them not to go off, and just fail to detonate. That's that cruiser down. It's also getting us more experience, more combat experience. Level 1 ammunition, yep. So log, skirmish at A2. American vessels came across a lone light cruiser. Left the cruiser sunk with moderate damage to our vessels. Bering Island. There we go. Roosevelt's address. And Battle of Pearl Harbor. And then that's just that. Back to the bridge. So that's that campaigning across the Aleutians stopped. Although Able Squadron of a 2 is low on ammunition, and a 2 only has 2 torpedoes, so one boat's going to get resupplied, and then no one else. They're just going to become meat shields for that boat, I guess. How's one looking? They're getting better. Still not to the point where I would think about sending them out on a mission, but they're getting better. They're almost within range. So I'm going to send at least a flight or 2 of Wildcats to protect the dive bombers. In case something does come up and maybe they can do some strafing. And then I'm going to reserve the torpedo bombers for any close-in attacks against any other task forces. Because those torpedo bombers are really, really bad. Like, really, really, really bad. As in, they have a terrible range. Although they do have a stronger damage potential. And then the Wildcats are tough. And although they do have better range than the torpedo bombers, which is a good thing. Because those torpedo bombers have a very, very short range. Alright, complete its repairs and ready to undock. That is good. Let's send our strike. That is 7 squadrons of dive bombers. Actually, I'm going to send a flight of Wildcats to recon Makan Atoll first. And a single flight to recon Tarawa of Dauntlesses before the task force actually. So we have the task force actually kind of loiter about here, not to get too close. There is 12. Interesting that the Lexington has a smaller deck. She's got only 5 squadrons of dive bombers and 6 of torpedoes. The Enterprise is a bigger carrier than the Lexington, and I think it was the Saratoga. Which one's the Saratoga? It's in 6. No. It's in... yeah, 6. Yeah, the Enterprise is actually our biggest deck carrier. At the moment, the Saratoga is a smaller carrier. Well, hopefully we don't lose her, because that would be bad. That would be quite bad, in all actuality. Let's see. Launch an amphibious assault on Darwin. Alright, okay. So, British. Where's your fleet? Exactly? That is something I'd like to know. Are they all like escorting cargo ships? I feel like they might be all escorting cargo ships, which would explain. Oh, there's a destroyer and a carrier there, and a battleship coming along. Why would you send the battleship unescorted, especially near the Java Sea, where you've got 3, well, a major port and then 3 minor ports, all of which could house aircraft. There's also past Tamir. Probably within airplane range of Radari. There's a lot of ports there that could potentially launch things. 3 corvettes. They're just going somewhere. Where are they even going? Who knows? Convoy Easy's the delivering supplies, which is good. Where even is the British fleet? So far, all I've seen are those destroyer carrier and a couple of corvettes, along with the 2 cruisers that have just wandered off up here. Where even are these cruisers going? Are they going after Wake? They might be going after Wake, which would be interesting. Actually tempted to try and take Wake Island with Task Force 12 after we've attacked it. Makan Atoll is 59% scouted. So, Enterprise, let's launch your dive bombers. And since there's no fighters there... oh, you have to wait for it to be fully scouted? Maybe, I don't know. Let's see, are these guys getting attacked by anything or what? I mean, they're kind of, yeah, they are under attack. And they're just kind of doing scouting runs. Oh, did they actually have a bomb? They might have a bomb. They do have a bomb. Just gonna drop their bombs. But you're also doing a scouting run. There we go. Recon Makan Atoll. And that actually gave us more bonds. So these Wildcats are returning. There we go. So 8. Let's just go to Task Force 8. That way we stop getting the air raid siren. Go with the Enterprise. Doing 6 knots. Yeah, I think she's a bigger deck carrier than all the rest of them. So it would be kind of important to keep her alive. But I'm gonna launch. No, that's done. Launch our strike on Macon. There they go. There's a couple scout planes. There's also 5 torpedo boats at Tarawa. Truck Lagoon, that's going to be something to tackle. 2 is still making its way along with this Nan, which actually has destroyers in it. Interestingly enough. Paul Jones and Soldert, just their escorts. 183, actually. What are our objectives? Fort Nancy. What are you? You're a little Clemson, just bringing up the rear. You're both at the rear. Why are you both at the rear? Shouldn't one of you be leading and one of you be trailing if you only got 2? Or circling around the convoy? Be nerves. Conflict Mike, yeah. I want to get to the bridge. Makan Atoll is still technically in combat with these 4 submersibles. Been in combat for the longest time. Recon Tarawa, there we go. Stay returning. Alright, Task Force 8 has engaged the defenses over Macon. Dog Squadron looks like they've dropped. Maybe. Yeah, looks like they've all dropped. So Makan Atoll's taking some damage. And now they're heading back. Oh, that's nice. There's 2 torpedo boats going there. I'll probably drop on Makan Atoll again once they get back. Just in order to soften it up before we actually arrive there. Though technically I could also launch a fighter strike. I'll leave 1 reserve for Cap. Launch a flight of F4F Wildcats, which didn't really drop too many bombs. In fact, the total amount of bombs dropped by Wildcats was as large as some B-17 missions over the continent in Europe dropped in a single attack. And I still have no idea where these cruisers are going. Where are you going? Are you going up to Komodoshiki? Why are you going up there when you've got troops landing on Darwa? I don't get the British. Right now, they're being very silly. Very, very silly with those cruisers. They could have been much better used than going on a wild goose chase up to here, they are sent of nowhere where they got no hope of being resupplied easily. At least if we went up there, we have a supply chain from all these bases. Like, we can just go to a 2 to get supplies. I mean, there's not too much supplies at a 2, but there's supplies at a 2. Actually, we'll set the mid. That way a 2 actually gets some supplies, because we are going to have to base ourselves out of a 2 a little bit. Just to get that going. Yeah, 8's making its strikes. 1 is still repairing. That's taking a lot of repairs. And 2 is still coming on. San Diego. How is this going? 2 days for the 2 light cruises to be done. And I've accidentally messed it up. So actually, could have the funds to build that, except don't have it unlocked due to needing more confidence points. So we could almost build another carrier. Almost, not quite, but almost. I'll just hide that. Mare Island's building its Liberty ships. Tanker. Let's see, Pensacola, Northampton. Get a Yorktown. Oh yeah, she's a Yorktown. That's what it is. Days to build 78. It's actually pretty fast for a ship building. She got a torpedo boat as well. Yeah, let's get a another Yorktown built. At least started being built. Okay, and that's all coming back, so we'll speed it up for a little bit. And there's a raid going on here. Let's check in. See what kind of damage they've done. Actually, no, they haven't even done any damage yet. They're still approaching. So it's a good time to come in and look. What is this? That's a different camera. That's top down. Some bombs and belts, although they probably won't attack using their machine guns. Interesting how one guy has contrail in this formation and 4 doing that one. So either these guys' cooling systems have drastically failed, or he's having a leak, or everybody else is having a leak, and they're the only 3 ones that aren't. So I think it's probably the fact that something's gone on with the cooling system on these guys. Yeah, here comes the rest of the Wildcats. And Prob 2 dive bombers. Although they don't carry as big as bombs as Dauntlesses would. They could carry 1,000 pounders on Dauntlesses. Only like 250s on Wildcats though. And there's our lonesome I Go. And we're at Macon. Oh, there's actually a little fleet over at Tarwa. Alright, let's see what you bomb. Looks like the airfield in the hangar's actually been put out of commission. Which is good. Oh, and some of them have already dropped. And I think the rest are just kind of flying over. Oh, there goes a Wildcat from that formation. Or one of the formations. Some hits on some defense guns, although I don't think they did too much damage. And then I'm guessing whoever is left is going to drop their bombs. So one flight is now weaker. Yeah. Oh, that flight got hit again. Oh, there goes some more Wildcats. This is what you get for just flying straight and level, guys. Makes you a fairly easy target for anti-aircraft guns. Although I think... Oh no, there's still one flight that still has bombs. Let's see what they target. Since you're just kind of flying around, I don't know what exactly they're planning on targeting. Oh, and one of them over there got shut down. Come on, guys, drop your bombs. You gotta drop your bombs. You can't just fly over like this over and over again. It's not gonna go well. Looks like they're targeting an AA emplacement or a searchlight. I'll just have them to drop their bombs on the AA emplacement. Yeah, so the airfield's been knocked out. Some searchlights. I think there's been some damage to the coastal guns, but none of them have been knocked out. So we're going to send the dive bombers back here. Just because, well, we need to knock out those coastal guns before we get into a fighting range with Makan. At least with a carrier in the task force. Let's see. Yep, those dive bombers have returned. So, queue them up. And attack. Don't let Makan have any rest. Just to stop the air raid siren once again. And in fact, the only group left on the deck is that single fighter group that I left behind so that it could provide cap. Should it be needed. Or at least a cap. Although sending all the fighters on that raid is actually a little bit dangerous if there was a enemy carrier in the area. Because then the Enterprise is fairly open, well, relatively open, to retaliatory strikes because there's almost no fighters here to defend her. Oh, there's a Dauntless dive bomber squadron just circling overhead. But I'm going to call the episode here. We've knocked out the force that was going to Midway, which might have been able to take it, although Midway is defended by 10 15-inch guns. I doubt that would have fallen, but it's possible. And we've got 12, actually it's 12, it's almost within range, though we do need to spot the port at Wake first. So it's almost within range to start targeting Wake Island. And 8 is currently playing bomb Midway into a parking lot. And then do the same thing to Tarwa and maybe even Travalu before heading down to Nemoria over here in order to get a resupply, because, well, they're going to be running low soonish, eventually. But I'd like to thank you all for watching, and hope to see you all next time.